on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
You know, Lloyd, just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself!
If there is one word that comes to mind when you think of actor Jeff Daniels, it's range. I mean, the man can play just about anybody, whether it's his downright hilarious turn as Harry Dunn in Dumb and Dumber, or his commanding performance as TV anchor Will McAvoy in the hit show The Newsroom, a role that earned him his first Emmy for Best Actor. But now Daniels is taking on one of the most well-known figures in American history, President Ronald Reagan. His new movie, The Brink of War, hits theaters this weekend, and it focuses on the high-stakes talks between Reagan and Gorbachev in 1986. Talks that would either bring the world a step closer to peace or outright disaster. Here's a preview.
Ask him to come to Washington.
For what? More talk that leads to nothing?
Maybe this place is haunted. Ask him anyway, sir. Please, in spite of it all. We have maybe a minute left until he comes out that door, gets in that car, and he is gone. Do not let what happened in that house, in that room, over the last 30 hours, destroy our entire future.
My star witness tonight is Jeff Daniels. Jeff, it's so good to see you. I've been a fan forever, as everyone is, and here you are in this new role. What drew you to play Ronald Reagan in this particular moment in history?
I didn't know how to do them. And so at this point in my career, you risk failure. Fear of failure is a great motivator at this point. And I said yes and then tried to figure it out. And then as you dive into it, you find out how important that weekend was in October of 1986 in Reykjavik Island, in Reykjavik on Iceland, the country of Iceland, and how dangerous the world was at that point. I had no idea. I wasn't that aware of it, and how important that meeting was at a time when the world was in a very, very precarious place.
You know, in many ways, people are watching this today and thinking it feels like we're in a constant state of precarious states, and yet here you are reflecting back and bringing your artistry. And I have to wonder, I mean, so many people know Reagan's voice. He is a figure that people have done impersonations on forever. And he's so well known, whether it's Reagan or Elvis, people try to mimic them and do impersonations. You decided to approach this differently. Tell us how you went about it.
Yeah, you can make fun and have a great parody on whether it's SNL or Rich Little or whomever might be doing it, and that's a different thing. This is a very serious movie. It's an important movie, and we're not going for jokes. So what you try to do is suggest, and you find enough of the voice, enough of the mannerisms. You know, one of the keys for me was the word well. He would say it a lot, well, and he would do that, or the word no, and he came around the O's. So once you find some of those things and you locate it in the chest, which is where he kind of spoke, you put the hair on, the mannerisms, and then you find the kind of melody of the way he would speak, the intonations, his comic timing. He used his ability to tell jokes, to kind of help break Gorbachev down and maybe get the negotiations heading in a more friendly direction. It was all kind of using all of that to kind of suggest it so that the audience isn't necessarily watching an impression which pushes them away. It's pulling them in so you can kind of figure out what Reagan's thinking, what he's feeling, so that you're feeling it too.
I mean, well, you have mastered the art of suggestion and bringing the audience close to you. I mean, talk about Reagan being able to infuse this role with all the things that I think you are as an artist and actor. I mean, in so many of your roles, they speak to a particular moment in this country's politics, whether it's this movie or your work in the newsroom or Atticus Finch in the stage version of To Kill a Mockingbird or James Comey in the Cohen. I mean, there are so many things to draw from. Is there a lesson that you think today's leaders could learn from Reagan and Gorbachev 40 years ago, knowing people are looking at what's happening now through a very current lens?
As divided as the country is, as the world was that dangerous and that divided back then. We just weren't as aware of it back then. We didn't have a CNN. We didn't have social media telling us everything that's going on. I was not that aware of the meeting in '86. But there were 70,000 warheads at each other, and there was no defense here. Star Wars was just an idea on this page. So it was a very dangerous time, and this is what two leaders did at a time when these two superpowers were as divided as countries are now. And they got together in a room and they tried to find a way to find some common ground, to find a way to get the world into a safer place for everyone. And if the leaders of today, all around the world, were to do that versus ratcheting up the nuclear weapons in as many countries as possible to get them, then, if these two guys could do it, it's not out of the question that the leaders of today could do it. And so you have to hope for that. I don't give up on that.
How do you choose your roles? Because I know that you are somebody who has been very insightful. You are politically engaged. You are a student of history, obviously. When you look at the options and what you want and how you want to spend your time, which I'm sure people are looking to hear you and have you as their cast member all the time, how do you go about choosing it?
It depends. Sometimes it's just mechanics. Does the role have a beginning, middle, and an end if it's supporting? Does it, if I'm going to do roles that are the same, where I basically create a brand, which many actors have done. You go back to Clark Gable. You want to see Clark Gable be Clark Gable. That's what he did pretty much every movie. And that's okay. That's kind of brand name acting, and you can build a great career at that. I was brought up in the New York theater, and I remember a director going, what you're doing now, you did this last play, I'm interested in it. So you got it, understood. So when you get a character after almost 50 years in this business, like Ronald Reagan, that's a challenge. That's a mountain to climb. It's an artistic mountain, a creative mountain. And that's the challenge. And for me, at this point, that's where the fun is.
All of your movies are wonderful, and just seeing you is fun for everyone. And your next film is called 2034. It is said to tackle the subject of AI. Artistry and creativity. Do you ever worry about AI potentially being used to replace people in film and TV, and what that would mean to creativity and artists?
Directed that movie 2034 that we just shot in June. Rachel it does speak to that. It speaks to, does AI have the potential to get out of control? I don't know enough about AI. I play someone who invented the code that would become artificial intelligence, and 32 years ago he discovered the code. And his big aha moment wasn't that he discovered it, was that he didn't delete it. And had he deleted it, maybe there wouldn't be an AI. But on the other hand, you're looking at AI with what it could do for medicine, what it could do to get rid of diabetes, for example. So I don't know enough about it, except I don't know how we're going to stop it. I know there are data centers being built all over the country, whether we want them there or not. I hope in the end that AI is more good than bad. I know the industry, Hollywood is worried about it. As soon as the audience decides that they can see John Wayne at 35 years old, the last one this weekend, and it makes $100 million, everybody else is AI. That's it for real living.
Let me ask you a couple questions. I'd like to get to know people a little bit more. What do you think people misunderstand?
That I really am Harry Dunn.
People think that.
Are you really like me?
What do you say in response to that? You've got to have a canned answer that I hope is G-rated?
I usually go into it. I'm not like, no, not at all. Like, just drop it.
Was there a time you first realized that the life you're living now, it might actually happen? You said you're talking about theater can't take out. I feel that this would be what your life is like.
When I was, it took a long time to accept the fact that this is what I was going to spend my life doing. Really long. I mean, which is different than when did you know you made it? Or you had, and it wasn't until I had done To Kill a Mockingbird on Broadway, which was this time 44 years into this. And my agent called up after I was getting ready to be done. I was there 3 years on Broadway, and he said, and I said, what's next? And we all went, what's next? And he goes, what do you want to do? It was the first time I ever heard my agent say that. And that was the moment where I said, okay, I think I made it. What that was, I don't know, but I made it. And it was 44 years in.
You know what? What a humbling and inspirational answer. I have to tell you, I have one more question for you, Jeff Daniels. Although between you and me, I could ask you 10,000 more questions, but I need you to go back to work because I love your work so much. But who is the last person who told you no, and were they right?
Told me no.
Well, no. They weren't right. They weren't right. I will tell the story of when I was about to do Dumb and Dumber. I'm about to do it. It's a risk. Jim had done Ace Ventura, he had shot Mask, but he didn't. I'm going to do it because I want to be talking to Jim. And suddenly I have an intervention from 3 agents. They're on the phone, conference call, the day before I'm supposed to fly out and start working and all that. Okay, we're going to stop this. This is not going to happen. You're going to ruin your career. With all due respect, Jim's going to knock you off the screen. And I said, well, okay, thanks for the support. 1, 2. I got the snowball in the head, I got the tongue on the pole, and I got the toilet. Those are 3 scenes that Jim's not even in. So unless they cut him out of the movie, I'm going to score. Man, with Jim, who's still a credit, I love the guy, let him leave. He's done it anyway. That's how he's wired. So you need a puppy on the leash so that when Ryan says, Harry, go to a half-second away, you know, and then you're there. But don't try to go through the door first and try to tell him what to do as a character, and then we're fine. And it worked. It worked. But yeah, they were going to stop this from happening. They said no, but I said yes.
Wow, that was the unexpected trifecta. You've got the tongue on the pole, the toilet. What was the It really was. It was a pleasure talking to you. I'm so excited to talk to you. It's always nice when somebody that I'm a fan of, I'm still a fan of after I leave something.
It doesn't always happen, does it?
It doesn't always happen. Jeff Daniels, thank you.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you all for watching. The Story Is with Alex Michelson is next.
Decades in Sports.